And countless families left their homes as Hurricane Milton was charging towards the state of Florida. Many are not sure now when they can go back home. Joining me now is Julie Aiello, born and raised in St. Pete, evacuated to Jacksonville. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. You know, it must be nerve-wracking for you and your family because you left your home to St. Pete. You don't know, right, at this point, what condition your house is in.
That's correct. We have no idea where things stand at the moment. We know that we were concerned about water intrusion from the flash flooding, not so much from the storm surge this time, but the winds with trees nearby. And after watching some of the videos that we've seen overnight and come in this morning as the sun is starting to rise, we are very nervous about the condition of our home.
Now, when you left, you know, it's always, you got prepared. What did you do to make sure, secure your home before you left? What precautions did you take?
We did sandbags on the front of the house and the doors that were concerns for potential excessive rain floods. We also put up our steel corrugated shutters, the hurricane shutters, on all of the openings that we have in the home, windows, and then along the back porch. And we just, at the time it was a hurricane, it was a Category 5, and it had 175, 180 mile an hour winds, and it felt a bit like it might be a futile effort at that wind speed, but we figured, my husband said, if you don't put your shutters up for a Category 5, when do you put them up?
I know so many people have lost their power in the state of Florida. Have you been able to get in contact maybe with anyone who lives anywhere near you to get a gauge what may, I'm sure they left too, but do you have any indication of what may be happening in your community?
Not yet. Most of our neighbors, all of our neighbors left. One neighbor on another street I know of is still there, and so I plan to text a neighbor and see if he has any insight on what our street looks like, because I don't have his number directly. But as of last night, water was getting real close to their garage doors, and he said it was too dark to tell because power was out.
Was this a double punch for you? I mean, you had the two storms back to back. You have Helene, and then you have and Milton. Did your home suffer any damage from Helene?
We were really fortunate and blessed that we didn't have any damage from Helene. The water came very close. I've never seen storm surge or flooding like that in St. Pete. I lived there my whole life, and it was really nervous. We had to walk back to our home because the water was too deep in our street. But we were fortunate. We did not have damage, but we were very concerned that this time we wouldn't be that lucky. You know,
people always think when the storm's over, you can go back home, but it's not that simple. I mean, so what does it look like for you? How are you managing this, not knowing that date or not knowing exactly when you can go home? What do you wait for here in terms of any indication that you can start moving in that direction to St. Pete?
Well, first we have to figure out, we need notification when Pinellas County will open the county borders again. That's the big thing. And the bridges. Now there is one other route we can take that won't require a bridge. It's pretty far out of the way, but that's another concern. If any of the land sides of the bridge or the bridges themselves had damage, then we would have to find a new route to get back to our home in St. Pete.
And one more thing before I leave. It's your son's birthday today, isn't it?
It is. It's his 8th birthday. And he is excited to be with cousins, but honestly, it was very emotional packing up our home and saying we were leaving because he asked whether his birthday was going to be canceled. And as a mom, that was really hard to answer that question. Of course, the answer was no, but trying to find the best landing spot for him, for us as a family, to be able to celebrate and make it as normal and exciting for him as I can.
And it sounds like this whole thing has been very tough for you and your family.
You know what? We put our faith in God, and we know that he's going to carry us through. And from there, we just try to take it hour by hour and day by day.
Well, good luck to you. Hopefully you can make it home soon, and happy birthday to your son.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. And we are starting to hear from people who evacuated their homes. Some of those folks are in limbo right now, not knowing exactly what they're going to go home to. Other people apparently have been able to go back to their homes. Joining us now is Florida resident Sandy Sheely from Palm Harbor, Florida, in Pinellas County. Now, thank you so much for joining us, Sandy. Now, I see you're okay. I'm glad that you're okay. But I'm looking behind you at all the damage to your property. Now, let's just get this straight. You did evacuate.
I did evacuate, and I got up this morning around 7, headed back only maybe about 10 miles away from my home. And it took me 3 different routes to try to get home because every street has this kind of tree laying down in the roadway.
So let's take it step by step. So you were able to drive back to your home. You said it's just a mess. Your power lines are down, the street lights are down, there are trees on the road, everything. That's what you saw consistently.
Correct.
So
and then after I got home, I got an emergency from the county saying, stay where you are, don't drive. And that was after, had gotten home and that I had received that. And no, there's nothing. The traffic light is down. Like I said, in major, highways, our roadways to even drive around, and it's very dangerous.
And were you evacuated to what was something like you said 8 miles? It wasn't exactly that. It was
about 8 miles inland. Yes.
And it took you how long to get back to your house?
Right. How long? It took me about 25 minutes to drive 8 miles.
I'm looking at their crews behind you, but I'm looking at all this damage. That's a big tree. Tell me what you're seeing at your home right now.
It was probably about a 60-foot oak tree that came down. And there's crews on every single street like this that are taking down these trees and trying to clear the way.
Now I see damage to the yard there, obviously, with the tree. Do you think that anything hit your house? How is your house doing at this point?
The house we got lucky. We have a lot of debris everywhere, of course. Shingles off the roof, but as I said in our last interview, I'd rather come home to that than have a house with the water surge. We just got the freshwater flooding, which I'd much rather have again.
Now, I'm sorry, did you say you have some flooding inside your home? I missed that last part.
That's correct.
Okay. Were you surprised to see the crews there so quickly on the street? I mean, to think that you're getting some sort of, recovery help immediately, this is a very quick turnaround.
I'm very surprised with that. Every street that I was driving past, there was crews on almost every street. And I'm very happy to see that. I saw, I'm pretty sure the National Guard fly over about 20 minutes ago, which is also reassuring as well.
You're one of the fortunate ones because right now Pinellas County is shut off. You can't get in and out. But you obviously stayed in the county, which allowed you to drive over.
Within where I was still able to get home, but the streets, some of them you couldn't even pass through them. There's trees, debris everywhere.
What about
I'm sorry, and that's just us not getting the so-called direct hit, the destruction everywhere.
What about just your neighbors? Do you see any of your neighbors out, A, and B, other homes and other?
Everybody is still gone. Everyone is still evacuated and hasn't been able to get back because they went to Orlando area or, Miami, or some even went to Tallahassee to try to escape that.
Have you heard about any of the other damage? Because Pinellas County got hit hard. I know there was the Tampa Bay Rays stadium where the roof was ripped off. Have you heard of anything else that's happening in that county to that magnitude?
Pinellas County did not get the water surge as we thought we were going to get, what we were preparing for, like what I had, with Helene, with the 2 feet of ocean in my home and being 3 blocks away. But I know now it's just the wind damage. Thank God it wasn't the water surge, but now we have the wind damage and all the destruction from that. So it's going to be a lot of cleanups.
Yeah, just based on what I'm saying and what you're saying, that's across the board as you were driving back to your home.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sandy, for talking to us a couple days.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, we hope to check back in, of course, to make sure you're okay and to see how you progress because of all this damage and also your neighbors.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.